It's about time we had another CD update. Ahoy hoy everybody, and welcome to a CD update, middle of January 2023. These are the CDs I've listened to since the last CD update. However, there are some additional CDs that I'll be showing, and I'll start with those. As some of you, many of you will know, I redid my room back in October or November, I can't even remember now. And when I was doing that, I found some CDs. A couple of them had fallen underneath my computer desk from where they'd been sat on the side, and some of them were down behind my radiator from where the cat had knocked them off of my windowsill. So the windowsill ones are CD singles, which is where I keep my CD singles, as, again, some of you know. But there's a couple of albums as well that had fallen underneath my desk. I don't think I've shown these. It's possible that I have, and they'd fallen down there since I showed them. Certainly with the CD singles, but I'm going to assume that I didn't, and I'll show you them now for completeness sake. So these aren't things I've listened to lately, so I can't go into too much detail about them. But this is the CD single for Kids by Robbie Williams and Kylie Minogue, two artists I'm big fans of and collect anyway. B-sides of this are all Robbie Williams songs. John's Gay, Often. Oh, and the video to Kids is on here as well. Alicia Keys' A Woman's Worth CD single, which is three different mixes and the video. And Falling, which is two different mixes, rearview mirror, an enhanced CD-ROM with a video, picture gallery and lyrics. The collector's edition live CD of David Bowie's Survive, which has got Survive, First Day's Child and Seven, all live versions, and it's an enhanced CD containing the Live in Paris Survive video. And then the last CD single is for Robbie Williams' Rude Box, and this has got 4 different remixes, or the album version and 3 remixes, plus a video and an interview clip. And then the albums, we had Take That's Progressed, which was the reissue of a Progress album with a separate disc with 8 new tracks on it, including When We Were Young, which was from the Musketeers movie, and Love Love was also a single. Plus, of course, the original album in there as well. And then if you watched my vinyl tag video, I actually mentioned this. The full version of the Absolute Beginners soundtrack on CD. So CD1 is the same as the vinyl that I showed. And then CD2 has got all the additional tracks, including Bowie doing Volare, Tempo Tudor doing Ted Ain't Dead, quite a few Gil Evans tracks, Smiley Culture doing the lyric version of So What. There we go. Right, now on to the stuff I've actually bought and listened to recently. Going backwards through the order I listened to it. Finished listening today to the David Bowie Moon Age Daydream soundtrack album. Really enjoyed this. Moon Age Daydream is a film about Bowie that came out tail end of last year. And this 2 CD set features loads of tracks in various forms. There's lots of live tracks, lots of new mixes, some spoken word bits, and they're all sort of segued together throughout. Most of them sort of blend into one another, and it's a really good listen, really interesting. A lot of the new mixes are very good. You know, it wouldn't replace a David Bowie best of, but for a hardcore fan who's got everything, this is a nice new way to listen to some of the music. Plus it's got, you know, some live tracks that have never been released before on there as well. So I recommend that to any Bowie fan. This is the CD version of the PJ Harvey B-Sides, Demos and Rarities set. So the culmination of her reissue campaign was this 3 CD and 6 LP set, which 6 LP set is that it there? Yeah, just there. And as the title suggests, it's full of B-sides, demos and rarities. So all the previously unreleased, well, not previously unreleased, but all the previously released B-sides, some previously unreleased demos, tracks from soundtracks and All About Eve show and all sorts on here. Really good. Highly recommend to any PJ Harvey fan. Sophie Ellis-Bextor's Kitchen Disco Live album, live at the London Palladium. So following her kitchen disco shows in lockdown, she took the show on the road and performed a number of nights, and she sort of had her set list, and then she had a big wheel with various songs, that both covers and her own tracks, that she'd performed through the kitchen discos, and they'd randomly select them. So this is a 2-disc set. The first disc is the full London Palladium show. There seems to be a bit of editing between tracks, but that I'm presuming that's mostly banter, although a lot of banter is still in it. What was it? All Night Long, the Lionel Richie track, sort of came up randomly using the spinner. But then disc 2 is another 7 tracks which came up on different nights using the spinner. Again, a mixture of her own tracks and covers. But yeah, really good, highly enjoyable album. This is the 4 CD box set of Life Through a Lens, the 25th anniversary release of Robbie Williams' debut solo album. So this came out in various vinyl formats, all of which I've got and I've shown, plus this 4 CD set, which is the most comprehensive one. The others are just, well, there's picture disc and a vinyl release, which are just the album. Then there's a 7-inch single box set, which includes the hidden track, which isn't on the normal vinyl release, plus Freedom and one of the B-sides, Average B-side, as 7-inch singles. But yeah, this is the comprehensive release. So it comes, pull out little box, and then inside we have a booklet with lyrics. Got lyrics to everything? No, just lyrics to the main album and Hello Sir. And then credits for everything else. And then it's 2 fold-out wallets inside. In the right order. So the first one, disc 1, is just the original album. And then disc 2, Life on the Flip Side, bonus tracks and B-sides, contains 20 bonus tracks and B-sides from the era. Some remixes, quite a few original tracks and some covers that were all B-sides. And then the second set, disc 3, is Work in Progress for Making of Life Through a Lens. So that's loads of demo versions and alternate mixes from the time, including some tracks that never made the album. And then disc 4 is Life on the Stage, live at the Forum, London, 3rd of June 1998. So this was a show called Live in Your Living Room that was broadcast live on Sky, I think it was, pay-per-view. And then it was released on VHS. And I think it was just VHS. I think excerpts of it are on one of the DVDs as well. But that's the first time that the full audio of it has been available standalone. But yeah, very good set. Okay, then we have the soundtrack to the new Matilda film. So I'm a big Tim Minchin fan, so that's why I picked this up. There is one new song, Still Holding My Hand, that was written especially for the film. And there's some songs missing. There's whole subplots that were cut from the film to make it work better as a film. But yeah, there's just some really great songs in this. I have the stage musical soundtrack as well, but wanted to pick this up. This is Calling Inspector Marsden, the second Inspector Marsden novel by Count Arthur Strong. So I'm a big Count Arthur Strong fan, and I bought the book as soon as it came out, and then the audiobook came out, and it's always great hearing the Count read it, because it's all done in his own inimitable style. It's highly comedic. There's, it's not a proper thriller in any sense. Inspector Marsden is the character that he writes. This is the second Inspector Marsden mystery even. That was a Freudian slip. But he writes basically, or Steve Delaney writes, who is Count Arthur Strong, writes as if the Count is basically just writing his thoughts down on the page. So it's, halfway through he says, "Oh, I need to go to the toilet now. Why don't you go to the toilet at the same time?" And, he's talking about the character, but really he's talking about his real life and things like that. But yeah, very enjoyable. We have, I've already shown, I'm assuming, a couple of versions of Taylor Swift's Midnights in the previous video, because I've only got 3 left here to show. But there's 3 different colour versions of Midnights, and with the signed cards. Oh, this is the standard release, but that I originally ordered before the signed ones were announced. This one, if you watch my autograph update, this just sort of turned up. It had an RW code on the packet, so I think it was a mix-up with my Robbie Williams order, and this was sent as well. I received my Robbie Williams order, no problem, but then a few days later this just turned up in the post, and this is Rex Orange County's album, Who Cares? When I opened it up, it had a signed print in it as well. But I sort of knew the name, which I think the main reason I knew the name, I've sort of subsequently realised, was because he was under investigation for some sexual crimes, but he's been found innocent of all that anyway. But put it on, and I really enjoyed that. Actually, really good album. Highly recommend it. This is Aha's True North. I bought this in a bundle with a vinyl because it came with a signed print, although the signed print only ended up being signed by 2 of the 3 band members. But yeah, enjoyed this album a lot. As I said when I was talking about because I'd listened to this before I'd shown the vinyl. Very reminiscent of Divine Comedy in parts, so therefore I enjoyed it a lot. And finally, I'm just going to double check after I record this that I haven't missed anything. But finally, Cliff Richard's album, Christmas with Cliff. I bought this purely for the autograph. I like Cliff's early work, so I wanted to have his autograph. This is his Christmas album. It's okay, actually. It's, for what it is, it's perfectly listenable. What's interesting, I found, is obviously he's 912 now, and so they've adjusted the songs to fit his voice, so they're all sort of set in a lower key than they would normally be. Yet, it's the parts of the songs where he goes back up to his normal key where he sounds best. Almost as if his voice hasn't really deteriorated, but they just sort of assumed it has. Or maybe he can just do it in short bursts. But that's, he doesn't sound right in the lower keys, but when he goes up to his upper key, he's perfect. But yeah, it's mainly traditionals or Jingle Bell Rock and Blue Christmas and Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree and things like that. But there is 1 or 2 brand new tracks on there as well. Okay, I'm just going to check there's nothing I've missed. Good job I checked, because there was one more version of Midnights there. I'm guessing I must have already shown one. But I knew I'd had a couple of collapses. So I just checked the floor, and there that was, leaning up against my TV table. But yeah, I'm pretty certain that is everything. Editing, so slightly different camera angle. Found some more. They'd fallen off. I had a bit of a collapse a couple of weeks ago, and these had fallen quite away, so they weren't as close as I was expecting. I think all of these, well, not quite. Some of these I've shown on my autograph update, I think. Anyway, maybe not. Regardless, carry on, Martin. This is the reissue of Shakin' Stevens' Merry Christmas Everyone Christmas album. So this has been a disaster. They reissued it November, end of October, beginning of November, on vinyl and CD. First of all, and I've alluded to this a couple of times, well, I haven't alluded to it, I've spoken about this a couple of times. The vinyl was advertised as being red and white marble, with this picture of a red and white marble disc. It looked really pretty. And then when they came, all the discs were pretty much entirely red, but with some very light white marbling inside. But then the CDs were meant to have 3 bonus tracks on, so it's the original 12-track album, plus the extended 12-inch version of Merry Christmas Everyone, an extended version of True Love, and Echoes of Merry Christmas Everyone, which was a redone version of it he did around the time of his Echoes of Our Time album, so it was done in a more country rock version. But when they came out, all the discs were just the standard 12-track version. So it took a while, but after much fuss, they did a reissue campaign. Send us your order details and we'll send you a replacement disc. So great, fine. In the meantime, I ordered a signed version through Shaky's website. So I can't remember what. Yeah, I think the original 12. I think that's the original 12-track version. So I emailed them off my order details, and literally 3-4 days later, I got the proper 15-track version through the post, which is fine, and no problems with that as well. And then in between Christmas and New Year, another corrected version just turned up. So I'm not quite sure what happened there, and I can't quite remember what I've done with that. But yeah, very bizarre. This is the new issue from a Pretty Reckless called Other Worlds. This isn't a proper album. It's described as a compilation of classic cover songs and phenomenal acoustic recordings. So there's some acoustic versions of tracks from their last couple of albums and some covers, basically. It's got to have the worst CD packaging I've ever seen. Love the cover. I have got the vinyl pre-ordered for this, but that's not coming out until I think it's next month. But it is impossible to read. You know, alright, you can read that because it's a big, bold type. Well, not bold, but a big font. But then that is just impossible to read because it's too small and then too light. You can just about read the track listings, but the credits are impossible. But otherwise, it's a good album, or mini album, or whatever you want to call it. So Sleeper reissued their second album, The It Girl, on... So as opposed to Smart, which they did as a CD release with bonus tracks and vinyl release, they just did a vinyl release, but included in the vinyl was a CD with B-sides and some demos on it, which is very good. But then alongside it, because they'd already done the anniversary tour for It Girl, they released this live album. So this is the full It Girl album played live in the UK, May 2022. I think it's across various different venues. And then at the end, there's a couple of covers, a couple of their other songs. There's Vegas from Smart and Romeo Me from Pleased to Meet You, which was the first time I played a song from that album live since they've reformed. No, it's not. Ignore that, because they played a different one on the Smart tour. So ignore that. But it's the first time I played that song since I've reformed. But yeah, very good. Hugely enjoyable. And I wasn't able to make this tour because the nearest they played was London. And I couldn't justify heading all the way to London for it. So it's good to be able to hear that tour. This is Joss Stone's new Christmas album, Merry Christmas Love. Which is mainly, I've shown the vinyl of this. So it's mainly classic Christmas songs with 2 or 3 brand new ones as well. And is excellent. This is Alicia Keys' new Christmas album, Santa Baby, which again I've shown the vinyl of, which is a mix, more of an evenly split mixture of classics and new tracks, and also contains a couple of reworkings of her other not so Christmassy tracks from different albums, but one of them is made Christmassy and one of them is about Jesus, so sort of fits anyway. But yeah, very good. So this is the accompany album for Tom Fletcher's kids' book Space Band. He's done this for a couple of his books, but with this one he's managed to rope in the rest of McFly to actually perform the songs. It's 8 tracks and most of them are only about a minute long, but they're a lot of fun. I believe the plot of the book is about this band who are the worst band in the world, but who go off into space and become the biggest band in the universe. But they're just short, fun songs. You know, track 2, Nothing Rhymes with Sausage, is a highlight. But it's a lot of fun. But my main, apart from the fact it's McFly, so I need it for the McFly collection. This is signed by Tom. One I bought purely for the autograph. This is Luke Evans' album, A Song for You. I did touch upon this because in my last lot of VCLT I received from Michael, he also sent me a copy of this album with a different signed image. This one was through Amazon and came with one like that. But the one he sent is a bigger picture. I passed that copy on to my mum though, the actual CD, kept the autograph. It's a good album for, you know, what it is. He's got a good voice and he's picked some good songs to sing. It's perfectly enjoyable listening. My only gripe for it is that the last 2 tracks are Christmas songs. So if you're trying to avoid Christmas songs out of season, you've got to skip the last 2 tracks. And then I found my other copy of Midnights. It was already in my racks. But when I looked back, I'm pretty certain I haven't shown it on a CD update. So for completeness, that's the 5th CD version of Midnights. Okay, I'm pretty certain that really is everything now. So back to me. But yeah, that's my CD's up to date. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, I have also listened to, I'm just waiting because I haven't watched a Blu-ray yet, so I haven't filed this away, but the Miracle Collector's Edition from Queen. So I did a full unboxing of this, so I won't go into too much detail, but it contains 5 CDs. CD 1 is the album. I'm trying to remember what mix it is of the album. Doesn't say. CD 2 is for Miracle Sessions, so that's original takes, demos, guide vocals, things like that. And it also contains some tracks that didn't make the album. CD 3 is Alternative Miracle, and that's B-sides, 12-inch versions. CD 4 is Miracumentals, which are instrumentals and backing tracks from the album. And CD 5 is the Miracle radio interviews, which are okay, but they're sort of a one listen. But yeah, very enjoyable. That really is it. Thank you for watching. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Thanks. Bye.